Night falls, and the magic of words is burning firefly-like in the darkness. I'm the Gargoyle, your host for this evening session. Coming up in the darkness, we have something a bit different this time. For the first time, I'm not going to read a novel, but a graphic novel script written by Marcus Echo, a fellow YouTube content creator and a very cool dude. I'll put a link to his channel below if you want to check out his work. So sit back and enjoy. And as always, the focus is on the words, never on the person behind the camera. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and telling your friends. I am the Gargoyle, your reader on the ledge. Call 1-800-KillaGuy by Marcus Echo. Open on interior D-Boy's living room day. Wide master shot of D-Boy's living room. It is a dingy, mucky room with a rickety ceiling fan. The carpet is dirty and has burn patches across the ground. The walls on either side of the door are dark green, contrasting against the faded brown door. In the foreground of the shot sits D-Boy, white male in his early 20s with a head covered in short, messy blonde dreadlocks. He is sitting with his back to the door, which is directly in the background, behind the table, grinding up weed. To his right on the table are 5 baggies already packed with weed, and to his left, stacks of weed on stems. He has a small pestle and mortar in his hands, which he is using to grind the weed. In the background, behind him, to the left of the frame, is a large sofa so worn, the sponge interior of the armrest is exposed through torn, weathered leather. Shauna is sitting on the couch. White, female, and skinny. Her head is resting on the headrest, with her hair flowing from her head down the back of the couch. Smoke rises from the roll-up in her left hand. Someone bangs on the other side of the door 3 times. At first, nobody reacts. Again, the person bangs 3 times. Close up from behind D-Boy. D-Boy looks over his left shoulder at Shauna. A slightly puzzled look on his face. D-Boy, you gonna get that? Medium, front point of view of Shauna sitting on the couch. Shauna is a slender girl with faded pink tank top, a belly button ring, cut off jeans and slippers. She hasn't changed her positioning on the couch. She is stretched out, still with her head back, her elbows relaxing on the headrests, and her eyes closed. In her left hand is a lit rolled up cigarette, with the ash dropping liberally from the amber tip of the cigarette onto the seat of the couch. While she blows a thin wisp of smoke upwards, there is a large window directly behind her with frosted glass. Shauna, it's your turn. D-Boy off screen. How do you figure? Shauna, I let you in, didn't I? Close up from behind D-Boy. D-Boy is still looking at Shauna over his left shoulder, now perplexed. D-Boy, what the hell are you talking about? You came in with me. Close up on couch, side profile of Shauna from left. Shauna still hasn't moved, head sunk into the headrest, hair flowing behind the couch, eyes still closed, and still letting smoke trickle from her lips upwards. There's a third set of banging on the door. Close up from behind D-Boy. D-Boy stares at Shauna for a couple of seconds in silence before he barks at her. D-Boy, bitch, get off your ass and get the goddamn door. Medium on couch, side profile of Shauna from left. Shauna still has her head back and eyes closed. She lifts her roll up to her lips and drags on it. in no hurry. Then she opens her eyes, stubs out the roll-up on the seat of the couch, and stands up. As she walks towards the door, the handle of a handgun that is tucked into the belt behind her is visible. A little sliver of smoke rises upwards from the stubbed out cigarette. Close up from behind D-Boy. D-Boy shakes his head and sighs. D-Boy, under his breath, goddamn bitches. Medium at door, side profile of Shauna from left. Aboard Shauna reaches the door and looks through the peephole. Close up at door, side profile of Shauna from left. A look of fear and panic flashes across her face. Her lip trembles as she whimpers. Shauna, oh, God. Medium, D-Boy's point of view of Shauna at door. Mid-shot of Shauna, who spins around and puts her back against the door. Mid-shot of Shauna, who spins around and put her back against the door. Shauna, it's Teague. D-Boy off screen. Shit! Wide, Shauna's point of D-Boy at table. D-Boy bolts out of his chair so quickly. The chair he was sitting in falls backwards. He darts towards and into the chair on the opposite side of the table. Rushing around the left side of the table, knocks off some of the baggies of weed off the pile, and they fall to the floor. Medium, D-Boy's point of view of Shauna at the door. Shauna pulls the handgun from behind her with her left hand. The other hand is on the door handle. She is looking back at D-Boy, who is off screen. Shauna whispering, what does he want? D-Boy off screen. How the hell should I know? Shauna, should I let him in? D-Boy off screen. Wait, goddammit! Medium pull out to wide, Shauna's point of view of D-Boy. D-Boy is sitting on the opposite side of the table, now facing the door. His head is lowered, closer to the table. He has his left palm on the table. The reveal is of a large, sawed-off shotgun, strapped to the underside of the table, with D-Boy's right hand holding onto the trigger. D-Boy, all right, do it. Two-shot, D-Boy's point of view of Shauna and Seamus at door. Mid-two-shot of Shauna, who opens and stands behind the door to reveal Seamus Teague. Freeze frame. Freeze on Seamus Teague. Text over freeze frame. Seamus Teague. Seamus Teague is a large, black, muscular man with a shaved bald head and a neat box goatee. He has a coy, mischievous smile on his face. He is wearing an off-white t-shirt, too small for him. It almost seems painted onto his body. He's wearing dark blue jeans and a large buckled belt. Slung over his shoulder is a large black umbrella fastened up by a latch. Seamus Teague. D-Boy, how's it hanging, fella? Almost had me thinking you weren't home. Wide, Seamus' point of view of D-Boy. D-Boy sits still behind the table, still clutching the trigger of the shotgun under the table. D-Boy. Seamus, didn't know you'd be coming around. D-Boy's point of view of Shauna and Seamus at door. Seamus slowly strolls into the apartment, out of the doorway. Shauna still standing behind the open door, clutching her handgun. Seamus Teague. What? I can't drop by and see my friendly neighborhood pusher man. D-Boy off screen. Not a problem. Close up on D-Boy's face. D-Boy's chin is close to the tabletop, but his eyes are locked with Seamus. D-Boy continued. As long as you don't mind being patted down first. D-Boy's point of view of Shauna and Seamus at door. Mid-shot of Shauna and Seamus. Seamus lifts his left hand and right elbow into the air. His right hand still holding onto the handle of his umbrella. which is still resting on his shoulder. Shauna pushes the door closed and with her right hand starts patting down Seamus from behind, who is much taller and bigger. Seamus is still following D-Boy. He still has the smile on his face. Seamus Teague. Take your time, darling. Let me know what you find. Shauna. What's with the umbrella? You think you John Steed or something? Seamus looks at her over his left. Seamus Teague. An Avengers fan. Colour me impressed. Point of view. Seamus over the shoulder point of view of Shauna. Shauna stops patting down Seamus and takes a couple of steps backwards, pointing her handgun at his back. She puts on a brave face, even if she might be petrified of being in the presence of this hulking figure. Seamus. When I was 10 maybe, they don't show it no more. Gestures at the umbrella. You want me to hold that for you? Seamus Teague. Thanks for the offer, but it's a little heavy, and I ain't staying long. Besides. Point of view. Shauna's point of view of Seamus foreground and D-Boy in the background. Seamus Teague continued. Who knows when it might start raining? Shauna off screen. You ever see it rain indoors before? Seamus Teague. Stranger things have happened, darling. Stranger things indeed. D-Boy. When you two girlies are done with the chit-chat. Wide. Seamus's point of D-Boy. Wide shot of D-Boy as he sits back in his chair. More relaxed with both palms on the open table. On the tabletop, sorry for that. Not hunched over, holding onto the sword-off, which is still visible under the table. In the far corner of the room, behind him is a small fridge and a small palm tree on top of it. Other than that, and a window directly behind D-Boy, a few meters away, the room is space. D-Boy continued. Maybe we can see what brings the mighty Seamus Teague to Casa de D-Boy. Extreme wide shot, entire apartment with large window and background. Wide shot of the apartment with the window on the wall behind the couch. D-Boy is on the far right of the frame, facing Seamus, who is taking a couple of steps forward and is now standing in front of the couch. Seamus's umbrella still rests on his shoulder. Shauna is standing by the door on the far right of the panel, gun in her left hand. Seamus Teague. Word around the water park is you ain't keeping to your word, D-Boy. You're branching into quades you ain't got no business being in. Worse is, you're doing it on purpose. D-Boy. That right? Who says? Seamus Teague. They. Close-up, side profile of D-Boy. D-Boy's gaze is locked on Seamus, off-screen, left of frame. D-Boy. They, huh? Well, they need to keep their big mouth shut. I got product and I'm a big boy. I'm going to go where I want, when I want. They can come see me if they got a problem with it. Close-up, side profile of Seamus. Seamus is looking at D-Boy, off-screen, right of frame. Seamus Teague. Tut-tut, D-Boy. Promises were made. You know how the game's played. Medium close-up. Seamus's point of view of D-Boy. A skeptical look comes across D-Boy's face. D-Boy. Since when you been in the getting high biz anyway, Seamus? I ain't stepping on your toes. Seamus Teague off screen. True enough. Medium. D-Boy's point of view of Seamus, foreground, and Shauna, background, over Seamus' right shoulder. Mid-shot of Seamus, that is wide enough to catch Shauna, standing at the door behind him. Seamus is looking at D-Boy, who is outside the frame. The umbrella is still resting on Seamus' right shoulder. Shauna has her eyes fixed on Seamus. Her gun is still aimed at him. Seamus Teague continued. But Calhoun, don't like getting his shoes scuffed. Shauna, you working for Jack Calhoun now? What? You looking to get yourself a country club membership? Shauna's point of view of Seamus foreground and D-boy background. Mid-shot of Seamus as he looks over his shoulder at Shauna, who is off screen. He has a smirk on his face. D-boy is still sitting at the table, which is just under 10 feet away from Seamus. Seamus Teague, I don't work for nobody, darling. But if you're paying, well, that's a different story. D-boy, then consider me paying. I'll drop you an easy 50 now. You stick Calhoun's head on a pike. You'll have 300 large in a duffel bag waiting for you. Close-up of Seamus's face. Seamus lifts the umbrella from his shoulder and holds it in front of him as he turns to look at D-boy. Seamus Teague. Head on a pike. I like that. Close-up, Seamus's umbrella. Seamus's right hand is holding the handle of the umbrella, and with the thumb of his left hand, he flicks the latch of the umbrella off its popper. Seamus Teague. Damn shame we didn't talk yesterday. The popper on the umbrella makes the sound. Pop! Close-up on D-boy's face. He looks incensed. D-boy. Motherfuck. And that's all for this evening session. If you enjoyed that, please check the link below and you can check out Marcus's Echo's rest of his work. Thank you so much for joining me for this session. And as always, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and we'll see you next week again. As always, I am the Gargoyle, your reader on the ledge.